Now let's go to this conversation. We do understand that some young people were taken on an excursion, of course being exposed to how flights work. And let's then tell you more, because this happened in the Western Cape, and speak to pilot organizer and founder Kelly Slingers. Thank you so much for your time. I'd like us to just begin, because I didn't want to give away a lot in that intro. Let's talk about why this decision to expose these young people to this.
Thank you so much for having me. So I started this initiative called the Plane Project about 2 years ago, and I've always thought of aviation as a great way to make a positive impact. So I started flying out relief supplies in the middle of COVID, and last year we started this specific initiative where we took 20 kids from an orphanage in Pretoria flying for the first time, and I wanted to do something similar in the Western Cape. So that's what we did today.
And tell us about, the decision then to even do this, because there's a lot of, stuff that is done for children, particularly in orphanages. People bring them blankets and all of that, but exposing them to sites?
So for me especially, just being exposed to aviation and coming from a town specifically where there was no airport, there was no exposure to the industry, I thought that it would be great to, have kids experience flight for the first time, experience the magic that aviation can offer. And just as it was done for me, just having that first flight and meeting a pilot for the first time changed my life. And I thought that if we could share this joy and if we could share this experience with young people from underserved areas, impoverished areas, that it could make a difference. It could make kids see the world from a different perspective. And, that's what we try to do today.
And Kelly, also, I'm sure one of the things that you're probably trying to do is to expose them to another career opportunity as something that they could potentially do when they finish school.
Absolutely. It was so great for me to see so many girls especially excited about flying today. And although the aim wasn't for kids to pursue aviation as a career after school, I definitely think that it may have planted some seeds. Even if we just spread a little bit of joy today, I think that was the main purpose. It would be great to have some more young people pursue this as a career. And I do think that after some of the kids landed, so many of them came to me and said, I think this is what I'm going to do when I grow up. So that was exciting to see.
And I was going to ask you about that, because I'm sure you know how kids are. When they finish with an activity, they talk about all kinds of things when it comes to the experience and how it changed their lives. How did they say for them, taking them on this flight for the first time has changed their outlook on life? What are some of the stories that you heard afterwards?
So, a lot of these kids come from really rough backgrounds and have not been exposed to the industry at all. I don't think many of them ever thought that this could be, something that they could pursue or see themselves in this industry. And, we had volunteer pilots today, and a lot of those were young women especially, and most of the kids that we flew today were young girls. And for them to see, girl pilots, and for them to see that it is possible was so special. I do think that we are going to see some pilots come out from here today.
And I'm sure this also changes, the pilots' lives as well, essentially, because you are exposed to a completely different world than you would be ordinarily.
Absolutely. Well, for the pilots, themselves, I think just being able to share this joy of flying and being able to, just share what we get to experience every day. We had 11 volunteer pilots today, just guys coming out of their own and just saying, they want to be a part of this day. They want to meet the kids. It's just a whole different world.
And you are a young person, Kelly, in aviation. This is an industry, of course, that really had some challenges during the pandemic. I'm sure you would have also experienced some. For you, talk to us about, this period of COVID-19 and how it has changed your outlook and how you do your job now.
I mean, for me especially, it changed my whole life completely. So I was working for a flight school and a charter company just before the COVID pandemic. And in the middle of the pandemic, 2020, I quit my job and I started flying PPE to remote clinics, to clinics that lack resources. So as much as it had an impact on the commercial aviation industry, for me especially, it opened up just the avenues and the access that aviation can create. And, I started flying basic relief supplies to areas that were under-resourced. And, it opened up just so many avenues for me. And aviation, I think, it's so critical when it comes to just humanitarian, relief. And it's an incredible access. It creates incredible access.
And what would you say about some of the situations you encountered as you were flying this PPE and some basic supplies on the ground?
For me, I think the most important thing is, as much as there's just dire need out there and just limited access to basic supplies for a lot of these remote places, there are so many people that are putting their lives, on the front lines and helping, and, just where we need helpers right now, I think in the country, is there really are so many people out there willing to help. And, I see it in the medical fraternity, and especially now during COVID, I saw nurses and healthcare workers just going out there and putting their lives on the line. Mm-hmm. And, as much as COVID has kind of changed our whole lives, I think it's definitely brought out the good in a lot of these situations.
And well done to you. I mean, as a young person, this is certainly an inspiring project. Well done. And for really even exposing those young people to their first flight. Kelly, that is amazing. That is Kelly Slingers. She is the organizer and founder of the Plane Project, and she's also the pilot there. And this project is being done in partnership with Gift of the Givers. As you hear her there say, these are some young people they are seeking to expose to even greater heights and, taking them on a different journey around, South Africa. So certainly a lot of positive news there. That is Kelly Slingers. Thank you so much for your time.